The estimated construction cost of the East Coast Rail Link, or ECRL, remains at 50.27 billion ringgit after Malaysia Rail Link and China Communications Construction Company, or CCCC, reached a mutually beneficial agreement. Transport Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said this is despite the complex rail engineering background on hilly terrain and wide river crossings. This also follows the Selangor State Government's green light for the ECRL to pass through the state's northern region. According to Wee, the estimated price tag takes into account the work of the 16.39-kilometre Genting Twin Tunnel using two sophisticated tunnel boring machines and the 14.1-kilometre Serendah Tunnel through blasting and drilling methods. The cost estimate will also include the rolling stock of the line when it is operational, consisting of electric multiple unit sets for passengers and locomotives, as well as wagons for cargo services. To recap, the ECRL is an electric rail network of 665 kilometres from Kota Baru in Kelantan to Port Klang in Selangor. The reversion of the ECRL to the original alignment for Section C will see this rail infrastructure crossing Mentakap to Port Klang via the main routes of Bentong, Gombak and Serendah. Bank Negara Malaysia says the regulator and all banks, including branch operations in Kuala Lumpur, will be open and operating as usual tomorrow. This follows the declaration of a public holiday for the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya and Labuan by the Federal Territories Minister following Kuala Lumpur FC's victory over Johor Darul Takzim in the Malaysia Cup last night. The central bank stated in a release today that financial market transactions in the foreign exchange, money and over-the-counter bond markets will continue to function as usual. Separately, Bursa Malaysia said the stock exchange operator and its subsidiaries will be closed in conjunction with the public holiday and will resume operations next Monday. Similarly, the Employees Provident Fund said its branches in Kuala Lumpur and Labuan will be closed tomorrow. DAP Member of Parliament for Bangi, Dr. Ong Kian Meng, slammed the declaration of the unplanned holiday as irresponsible and socially and economically disruptive, and pointed out that 90% of Kuala Lumpur's 216 billion ringgit gross domestic product output is in the service sector. Among others, he said the capital is the heartbeat of the nation's financial services sector and the operational headquarters of many accounting and tax consultants and multinational companies, and the holiday may result in up to 400 million ringgit in lost output. The appellate court has adjourned Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor's appeal to recuse former federal court judge Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram from leading the prosecution in her corruption trial and decided against issuing a warrant for her arrest after the former premier's wife failed to return to Malaysia according to a High Court order. Rosmah was to return on or before November 21st and surrender her passport before December 6th, as her solar hybrid graft trial was set to resume 2 days later. She was supposed to be present in the appellate court today to follow her appeal to recuse Sri Ram as lead prosecutor. The defence informed the Court of Appeal via a letter yesterday she was still in Singapore and would be returning on December 6th. Although Justice Datuk Hanifah Farikullah noted that the court only received a copy of the letter minutes before the proceedings began. Her counsel Datuk Jagjit Singh explained that Rosmah's absence was an oversight as there was a change in her travel plan due to an adjustment in the quarantine duration under the Malaysia-Singapore vaccinated travel lane. He told the court he bears sole and full responsibility for this oversight. However, Sri Ram argued that court orders must be obeyed, regardless of who the defendant is. Ultimately, the court decided to withhold the arrest warrant and ordered Rosmah to appear in court next Monday. Ahead of the Court of Appeal's decision on Datuk Sri Najib Razak's appeal against his conviction and sentence with regard to the SRC International case, The former Premier has filed a motion to examine MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki and Investigating Officer Rosli Hussain to gather more evidence. According to his lawyer Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, the application was filed following a statement made in November by the anti-graft agency about having recovered $15.4 million of 1MDB funds from Singapore. It said the funds were received from Cutting Edge Industries, which is owned by Datuk Dr. Taufik Aiman, the husband of former Bank Negara Governor Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz. During a press conference, Shafi said various authorities and the prosecution had previously claimed that they did not have this evidence and alleged that the evidence was concealed from the defence. Shafi also alleged to have personally seen statutory declarations from Taufik and his two sons, admitting to being the beneficial owners of Cutting Edge's bank account that received monies said to have originated from the profits made by Low Teck Joe as a result of 1MDB's Islamic medium-term notes of 5 billion ringgit that were flipped in 2009. Asked how the monies from the 2009 bond flip would be relevant to Najibs' case, given that the timeline involved in the SRC trial starts from 2011 onwards, Shafi contended that it is relevant, as Low made a substantial amount of profit to the detriment of 1MDB, which subsequently benefited Zeti's family. He then said that this is significant as it shows that Low has known Zeti and her family for longer than Najib, and that the former governor had been compromised. Human Resources Minister Datuk Sri M. Sarawanan says the government is giving priority to local workers to fill the vacancies in various employment sectors in the country. According to Bernama, the minister said that with the country's unemployment rate at 4.8%, Putrajaya needs to ensure that any job opportunities are first filled by local workers. In the meantime, the Tapah MP said his ministry also needs to take a harder look at the verification of migrant workers' vaccination certificates before hiring them, as it is believed that there have been instances in other countries where the certificates were falsified. He said the high prevalence of COVID-19 cases around the world has also caused the international borders to remain closed, making it difficult to bring in foreign workers. The minister was responding to an allegation by Beruas MP Datuk Ngku Ham that Sarawanan and Home Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin were the main reason for the current labour shortage because they were unable to reach a prompt decision to resolve the issue. Ngeh also claimed that this was also the reason for the increase in prices of most goods in the country.